with Adrian. I'm the product manager for the 790 Adventure. Hi Andy. So there it is, my baby. We all worked very hard to get here. You've all seen the prototype. Here she is, the 790 Adventure R. So the big question, how much power? 95 horsepower, retuned for torque, so we took the 790 Juke motor, took a little bit of peak power away and moved the torque lower down. Suspension is Explore, same technology as we use on our EXCs, so it's basically competition enduro suspension on an adventure bike. 20 liters of fuel tank. We pushed the fuel down as low as we could to get the best possible handling, off-road, keep the bike stable. What else did you want to know? Air filter. Air filter is under the seat. It's very easy to access because we know you have to clean your air filter when you ride the bike where we intend people to ride the bike. So take the seat off, undo 2 screws, and you have good air filter in your hands.
What's the biggest difference between the Adventure R and the Adventure?
The biggest difference between the two bikes, the 790 Adventure, is the suspension. On the 790 Adventure, it's non-adjustable and it's slightly lower, which makes it the easier bike for, you know, a wider range of riders. If you don't actually need all that hardcore suspension travel that you get on the R, but you ride, let's say, 80% on the street, it will do some serious dirt road riding. It's a lot better than a lot of other adventure bikes on the market. I know because I tried. But our R is, I mean, the way we like to see it is that the 790 Adventure is a little bit above the competition from a suspension level, and then the R is a lot above the competition.
Off-road. And they both have 21-inch wheels.
Yes.
And explain you were talking about the tanks. People were querying about the width of the tanks.
Yeah, we get a lot of questions about the width of the tank. And it was something for us in the development because we wanted to have a big fuel tank. We wanted to keep the weight down low. So then the question is, what happens if the tanks are wide? Is it an issue? So our development riders spent a lot of time on single tracks, rocky with tree stumps, just to see if it works, if it's possible to ride the bike, if you can get it stuck. Yes, at the end there will be a point where you can get the bike stuck, but trust me,
you'll be way ahead of everybody else.
You would never get there on any other adventure bike. But normal, seriously hard single track riding, it's never an issue. The tank is very strong, so it can take a hit, and it was very thoroughly tested.
Both bikes have quick shift now.
Optional.
Optional. And what does the off-road mode do differently to the 1090 and the 1290, for example?
So there's 2 things. There's the off-road mode, which is the same which is based on what we have on the 1290 and the 1090s, which allows, it's one setting, so you slightly reduce the power, you change the throttle, and you allow wheel spin at the rear.
Okay.
It was redeveloped. Of course, it's a new engine, so it was reworked to fit this specific bike. And what it does is that it cuts off more smoothly than some of the competitors do. So it actually allows you to hold on to that slide. It doesn't cut it off.
Okay.
Now, so that's the off-road mode, which is standard on both bikes because they are both off-road capable bikes. So that mode is standard. And then on the R, we have the rally mode standard, which you can get as an option on the Adventure.
Okay.
And the rally mode is, well, yes, it's new. It's in concept. It's similar to what we have on the Super Duke R and on the 790 Duke. It's where we call it the track mode. And what it does, it allows you to change the traction control settings on the fly. So you have a 9-step traction control, and the idea is that we did not want it to feel like a beginner mode. It's not supposed to be. Yeah, you know, you can use the off-road mode to get some feel for off-road riding, and once you learn how to use it, once you learn how to ride off-road, you can switch it off. Yeah. The rally mode is supposed to work for riders of all levels. Okay. And 1 is the lowest setting you can have, so it's, the test riders tell me that they have a hard time knowing if the traction control is off or if it's still in 1. That's how much wheel spin you have. And you can just set it up for the terrain, end of the day you're starting to get tired, maybe your tire's starting to get worn down, so you can dial up a little bit more traction control to preserve your tire. If you know you'll be riding a long distance, you can have more traction control if you like, just to save your tire. If you want to go crazy, just fuel it down. Also, wheelie control is automatically disabled in off-road mode, so you'll still have your traction control, but you can lift the front wheel to get over obstacles, to go up steps or those kind of things. So that's the main thing we did.
Okay. Just confirm the weight.
189 kilos.
And weight?
I think we're at 208 or 209.
Okay. Ground clearance on the R?
Damn it, I'm really bad with figures.
Okay.
Suspension travel is 240 mil.
All right.
And 200 on the Adventure.
Okay. Last question, ABS. Is any changes to the 1090, 1290 configuration?
It's newly developed for this bike.
Okay.
In principle, the idea again there was to have the off-road ABS.
More rally mode.
It's a little bit. It allows a little bit more blockage than the previous one. But as anyone who's ever tried the off-road ABS properly, for most riders, it's actually never a handicap, and it only helps you further. So we kept similar settings on the off-road ABS.
Great. And 20-liter fuel tank.
Yeah, 450 kilometers of range.
And meter meters, do you remember?
87.
Thank you very much, Adrian.